Anime has some of the bravest, most courageous and inspiring child characters fiction has to offer. Let's celebrate that. Welcome back to Otaku Daikun. Dai here. For today's video, I want to show my appreciation for the many brilliantly written children in anime who demonstrate their immense bravery for taking on responsibilities and challenges no kid should have to face. These children present us with unique perspectives that tend to be more honest and genuine than we often see from our adult heroes. Because of this, even as adults, we can experience their struggles and be reminded of just how strong we can be in the face of adversity. As we get older, our lives get bogged down with complicating matters that serve to distract us from what's truly valuable in life. Children, however, deal with these situations knowing full well what they want and act accordingly. It's inspiring. I hope you'll take the time to share this fandom as I shine a spotlight on my personal favorites. Let's go. I'll be starting and ending with what I consider to be the best examples. One of the best damn anime to grace this modern era is The Promised Neverland, and I'm so excited to talk about it. Literally every child in the series is inspiring, but I'll be focusing on the three main characters, Rei, Norman, and Emma. It's almost impossible to talk about this show without spoiling the first episode, so please watch it as a legendary recommendation for me. Then come back. That said, it's not like knowing the basic premise is going to ruin this amazing show for you, so proceed at your discretion. You good? Alright. The Promised Neverland starts off at Grace Field, an orphanage where 37 children are lovingly cared for by their caretaker, Isabella. Everything seems perfect, until Norman and Emma discover that their orphanage is actually a farm, raising human children as high-quality meat to be consumed by freaky-ass demons. The field's brightest kids begin to plot their escape. Needless to say, finding out your purpose in life is to be eaten by a monster is a waking nightmare. Even worse, the mother who's taken care of you for 11 years happens to be in on the whole operation, knowing full well her adorable children are being sent to their deaths. This news affects Emma the most, as Grace Field, her friends, and Mama all brought so much joy to her life. When she discovers the truth, the first thing she thinks of isn't her own survival, but the idea of her extended orphan family meeting such a horrific fate. It's not enough just for her to escape on her own. She insists on escaping with everyone, no matter how much of a liability the others might be. This inspires Norman, who is normally the most rational of the bunch, to work extra hard to make Emma's wish come true. In turn, he keeps his cool and helps Emma maintain a smile in the face of their deceitful mama. Both of them are terrified, but together they're able to keep each other sane. Then there's Rei, who turns the dreaded secret into an opportunity to save his best friends at any cost. He may look absent-minded, but every action he takes is to ensure Norman and Emma survive. Watching this group of prodigy children assess their situation and rationally assemble a plan is a delight to watch. We feel for them and want them to succeed, and their perspective, while childish, is astonishingly competent. You have no excuse not to watch this anime. For the inevitable Fate reference, we've got a handful of candidates. There's Rin Tosaka. In Fate Zero, we get to see her as a child. Right off the bat, she's dealing with hard times. Her father is off fighting the Fourth Holy Grail War and may never return, and her little sister Sakura has been given off to the Mato family. Despite this, she upholds the honor of her family and excels in her studies. This helps her make many friends at school, and her hard work pays off when Ryunosuke, a creepy child killer, abducts said friends. Rin embarks down the dark and ominous alleys of the night, facing grave danger in order to confront the killer. She takes her father's lessons to heart, applying them to thwart the killer and rescue her friends. Even further, in the wake of her father's death, Rin continues to study magecraft under creepy Kirei's supervision, while her mom slowly dies of declining mental stability. Through all of this, she still becomes an exemplary mage. If we're giving Rin praise, we absolutely have to talk about her sister, Sakura. The poor girl is subjected to some of the worst abuse imaginable. Not only is she taken from her family, her own sister, but she is adopted into the Mato family, who train their mages via crestworms. Thus, she is cast into the pit of worms, violated from every orifice. It breaks her spirit. The Mato elder, Zokin, plants a particularly nasty worm directly onto her heart, draining her mana. When her adoptive brother Shinji finds out he isn't the heir to the family anymore, he takes his anger out on Sakura, abusing her frequently. Despite all of this, Sakura still manages to endure and maintain a genuine sense of compassion. She is able to carve out a window of happiness for herself, effectively saving her sanity. Let's not forget Lil Ilia. While she's certainly vicious, you can't fully blame her for it. She was born into the world as a homunculus. That in itself has downsides. In her case, a short lifespan. Even worse, beyond what her parents wanted of her, she was born to be a master in the Fifth Holy Grail War and vessel for the Lesser Grail. Both her parents are killed, leaving her at the whim of the Ainsburns. In this endeavor, they mutilate her body to enhance her magic circuits and cast her to the wolves to test her strength. Sadly, throughout all of this, she believes her father abandoned her for an adoptive son and is left alone with the haunting of Angra Mainyu that infested her mother. She is forced to believe her only value in life is to win the war. Regardless, she gets kudos for putting up with all this bullshit. And it's all the better that she can still listen to reason when discovering that Kiritsugu didn't actually abandon her, and Shiro is a good brother. Speaking of good brothers, Miyu from Prisma Ilia has her own version of Shiro. He's cool and all, but today we're giving Miyu all the credit. In her universe, much like Ilia, Miyu was made to serve as the Holy Grail. Besides Shiro, everyone treats her like a tool and not a person. While she has her brother to thank for awakening her humanity, she nonetheless presses onward by herself in Ilia's world, managing to make friends and live a relatively normal life, considering she's a magical girl now. What Anituber would I be without at least mentioning Sakura Kinomoto from Cardcaptor Sakura? Admittedly, her experiences are nowhere near as traumatic as the others on this list, but hey, that's not a credential. Despite the absence of her deceased mother, Sakura lives a relatively peaceful life with her brother and father, supplemented with a lively crew of wonderful friends. She discovers adventure after accidentally releasing the Clo cards. Thanks to this, she must juggle her normal daily life as an elementary schooler with the burden of collecting the cards as they run amok in town. While lighthearted, her struggles are nonetheless daunting for a child of her age. Adoru from Utowarerumono is an adorable girl with animalistic ears and a tail. She lives with her older sister Edoru in the village of Tuskuru, where she lives a pleasant life. That is, until the shrine of an angry beast is disturbed, causing the monstrous Mutikappa to attack the village at night, feeding on her fellow villagers. On the surface, Adoru is timid, but after a stranger, Hakuoro, slays the beast, she begins to trust him like a father. Not only that, but she raises one of Mutikappa's babies to adulthood, gaining a strong ally for when she eventually joins to fight in battle as Tuskuru develops as a nation. Her willingness to care for an infant grants her an asset that helps her support her loved ones. Not many children are prodigies, and those who are tend to earn fame for it. Jim Hawking from Outlaw Star is an exception. Despite being a computer wizard, Jim is subject to the same life struggles as the other vagrants of Sentinel-3. To earn his keep, he teams up with Gene Starwind, and together they take on odd jobs, most prominently as bounty hunters. Even at the age of 11, he winds up being one of the most mature people in groups, and while this is certainly admirable, we just can't ignore that, at his core, he is a child who yearns for a mother's love. He is often denied the childhood luxuries he deserves. Radical Edward, what a strange kid. Like Jim, Ed is a computer prodigy, mastering complex hacking at a very young age. To be fair though, she didn't have much else to do with her time, as her own father clumsily forgot about her at an orphanage. Thanks to this, Ed does not get a traditional upbringing, and she develops as a free spirit of sorts. She comes and goes as she pleases, which makes it hard to really understand how she's feeling. Nonetheless, she certainly has some profound emotions, and a yearning to reunite with her father. No matter how smart she proves to be, she values the comfort of family, which is great because her childish antics make her endearing. That said, not everyone on this list needs to be exceptionally talented to demonstrate their bravery. This is the case for Nanako from Persona 4. Her mom was killed in a hit-and-run accident, and her father plunged himself into work as a detective to find the killer. While she knows her dad's work is important, she feels lonely spending most nights all by herself. Because of this, Nanako winds up surprisingly strong-willed, taking care of the house while finding things to smile about. Ultimately, she becomes confident enough to confront her father and finally make him understand how she'd rather the two of them be happy together than suffer for the possibility of revenge. This child, who should be joyfully singing the Junes theme without worry, has a surprising maturity from the emotional struggles she endures. In the world of Tales of Exilia, we have El Mel Marta, a young girl of age 8 who was born as a special child known as the Key of Kresnik. Her powers can be harnessed to traverse dimensions, and as such, she is coveted by those wishing to abuse her powers. Her father, Victor, sends her to another dimension for her own safety. Thus, she finds herself all alone in an unfamiliar world. The presence of her powers effectively takes away the life she deserves, and only through exploring the unknown can she claim any semblance of such a life. One of the most prolific creators of anime children is the acclaimed Hayao Miyazaki. Throughout his film career, I want to focus on 3 particularly relevant characters. First is Satsuki from My Neighbor Totoro. While the tone of the film is whimsical, it certainly manages to accommodate Satsuki and Mei's splendor and obstacles, moving to a new home. While the 2 girls mean well, they fear the possibility of their mother dying, which causes trouble for the townspeople. Satsuki specifically seems to have a more mature grasp on the situation, and her emotional arc is enlightening. Then there's Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. At the age of 13, she is a witch tasked with venturing out into a civilian world to train for an entire year on her own. She makes the most of her magical flying abilities to start a delivery service in the town of Koriko. Her training is quite the adventure, and she learns much about the world through interacting with the townsfolk. Of course, we can't forget about Chihiro from Spirited Away. She's a selfish, whiny child, oblivious to the great things in her life. However, when she finds herself in the spirit world, and her parents are transformed into pigs, she must find a way to save them. By working at the spirit world's bathhouse, she learns discipline, humility, and confidence to help her loved ones. Through this, she realizes the value of the life she had, giving her the strength to return home. The last anime in this video is deliberately one of the best. Made in Abyss tells the story of Riko and her mechanical friend Reg as they explore the depths of a gigantic abyss in search of Riko's mother. The abyss is dangerous, not just because of climbing hazards and ferocious monsters, but also because of its curse, which causes illness and other more progressively horrendous side effects to those who ascend too quickly. Regardless, Riko is both brave and enthusiastic, taking strength from the fact that her mother was a famous explorer as well. She is constantly trying to prove herself, and has her chance when she flees from her school with Reg. In the abyss, she encounters hazards no child should ever have to face, perhaps the most dreaded being poisonous spines that nearly kill her. In danger of another attack, Reg is left with no choice but to ascend with a wounded Riko, causing her already serious injuries to get even worse. Bleeding from the eyes and mouth, Riko implores Reg to amputate her arm, but instructs him in such a way that, even without part of her body, she can continue the journey. Even after experiencing some of the most gruesome pain imaginable, she nonetheless bounces back with a confident smile. Even more profound is the friendship between Nanachi and Miti. These 2 innocent children are manipulated into participating in a nightmarish experiment in the Abyss's 6th layer. Ascending from this deep in causes victims to transform painfully into creatures of the Abyss. Because of Nanachi and Miti's close bond, they are cruelly chosen to take part in a twisted experiment that forces all of Nanachi's curse onto Miti. As a result, Nanachi is forced to watch as her only friend screams in agony, mutating into a grotesque husk of sentient flesh. While Nanachi herself is transformed into a rabbit-like shape, Her suffering doesn't even compare to Miti's. As a result of the experiment, Miti became immortal and was subject to all forms of mutilation to test the extent of her regeneration. Refusing to see her friend suffer, Nanachi rescues Miti and flees to an isolated part of the abyss to try and free Miti of her suffering. Nanachi is haunted by the various failed attempts she made to finally kill her friend, and only finds solace by using Reg's energy cannon. While her spirit could have been broken over this, Nanachi remains stoic, even managing to make new friends without succumbing to trauma. Seriously, these children are amazing, and all deserve better. Even so, as they persevere, we can take genuine courage in their bravery, in a way no other characters can. There are plenty more examples out there, so let's expand the celebration in the comments. Do you have any anime children, or children in general, that inspire you to be a better, stronger person? Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this channel, help me beat the algorithm by liking, commenting, and sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and most of all, smashing that notification bell as if it were your waifu. That way you'll never miss out on all of my anime content, lore videos, live streams, and Holy Waifu Wars polls. My vids are struggling to get featured, so that bell is absolutely critical. If you want to support me directly, check out my Patreon, or consider donating via Super Chat. And as always, celebrate your fandom.